Welcome back to Real Talk, the show where we sit down with real investors doing real deals and uncover what's actually happening in today's market. So today we got Andrea Arciga in the building, better known as Miss Fixer, founder of Black Label Group based out of Los Angeles. Now, what makes Andrea's story different is a lot of people in this space, they either pick a lane and they stay in it. But Andrea, she's running a brokerage, she does active investments, and on top of all of that, she's a hands-on investor education arm as well across three markets: Southern California, Hawaii, and Las Vegas. On top of all of that, she's walking properties, she's structuring deals, and she's teaching the next wave of investors at the same time. So this conversation is not going to be just about what exactly is wholesaling and all of those stuff. It's going to be what exactly looks like to operate at a high level and not just a random reel or anything which you see on Instagram these days. So, Andrea, thank you so much for hopping on the Real Talk podcast with us. If you don't mind, can you give us a quick intro of who you are and a little bit of your background story?
Sure. My name is Andrea Arciga. I'm the CEO of Black Label Group. I have been, wow, just I guess bought my first property in 1996. So I've just been really into real estate for a very, very long time. I worked in mortgage. I worked as an agent, as a broker, doing REOs, helping people with foreclosures, and eventually became a full-time investor. I think I burned the boats back in 2015, done a couple hundred projects of some sort, quick exits and larger scale projects. And today I am working on land and flips, SFR flips.
Nice. And I know there's a nickname for you, Miss Fixer. Now, that's the name I would say, there's a story behind it, right? So, can you walk me through how exactly you got that name?
Sure. I think somebody coined that phrase. I think it was one of my children back when I started back when I started flipping properties, because they were just talking about they were all laughing at the dinner table about how I've been fixing properties, since they were little
Mhm.
kids. And what they mean was, when we were poor and renting apartments or, little condos, and I would come in and just make not such a cute place as beautiful as I could for them, their bedrooms, their that's probably where the design and the desire to make a house from. And so they just were talking about the fact that I now do that with obviously houses that I'm going to flip.
Yeah.
So yeah, just talked about it becoming mixed fixer. And then I think it kind of transitioned into like people come to me for everything, like how, when I was younger, like how late can I
Mhm.
pay my electric
Yeah.
bill? I mean, and I was always figuring out ways to fix things for people, because I have I always want to, fix people's problems, and that into real estate.
Amazing. Amazing. And what were you doing before Black Label Group? Like, were you working for somebody else at that time?
Sure. So right out of high school, I had my children really young, actually. My first son I had in high school, if you can believe it. So right out of high school, I went, I was just full time and, single mother and full time worker immediately. So I was fortunate enough to get into a company called New Horizons Computer Learning Centers and got into the tech industry very
Hmm.
early on. I rose in that company until the kind of the fall of the company, to be the youngest Hispanic manager of the company, selling franchises throughout the US and Canada. So that's where I kind of got started a little bit in real estate, because franchising technically is part of the real estate game. And then from there, I went into real estate through a friend who owned a brokerage in the city of Santa Ana. She owned a Coldwell Banker, and her and her husband had me doing their marketing, and then eventually taught me how to do loans. And that's when I just went, full time real estate investor, or excuse me, full time real estate.
Amazing.
Yeah,
And
long time.
yeah, I mean, it's a time ago, but amazing. It obviously it's like an amazing story. And if you don't mind me asking, can you walk me through one of your first deals? It might not be obviously the one of the best or let's say the biggest, but obviously we all want to know how exactly the first deal was in place. And that too, back in the day, it's kind of interesting to know more about this stuff.
Sure. One of the first deals in investing that I can remember was kind of an interesting one. So I had a client who I had helped put into a couple of properties that I recognized as good fix and flips. I had never done a fix and flip at that time, but obviously a fixer that I could get a good deal on and help my client get in there, and qualify for it and make some money. So I did that for a gentleman a couple times, and he happened to be in a Home Depot and ran into an old couple that were buying some, I don't know, paint or something, and picked a conversation with them, and turned out that they were there from Minnesota, and their father and brother had passed away within a few months of each other, and they needed to liquidate his house.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave them my number. So I'm driving down the street, very casual. I think I might have had flip-flops on. And I get a phone call from this couple, and they said, "We need your help. We've heard a lot of good things about you. Can you come over right now?" And I fortunately was one of those real estate agents that always had a blazer in the back of my
Mm-hmm.
trunk, and I grabbed the blazer, and I don't know if I even went in my flip-flops or if I had decent shoes. I can't remember, but I know that I wasn't ready for it. And I
Mm-hmm.
ran over to their property. It was in the city of Santa Ana in Orange County. And I began in real estate. They needed a lot of things. They needed help selling the car. They needed help cleaning out the property. They needed help doing an estate sale. They knew they didn't want people in the house. They were still very emotional over the quick loss of both their family members in such a short period of time. And I knew this wasn't a regular listing. I knew this was an investment opportunity. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew, more importantly, that I needed to help them because they didn't have anybody else. So I helped them through the DMV process. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I figured that out through a friend. I helped them. I've sent a call to that, for a few extra bucks to help them clean out their garage. I literally brought tables over, which I'm good at garage sales. So I did garage sales with them. And the most important thing I did with them is decided that they should sell, that I could buy their property instead of listing it. And
Mm-hmm.
I my very first real estate investment contract at that point. I would plan to fix. This is a good story because I plan to fix it and flip it, because I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what everyone else, was
Yeah.
starting to do. But unfortunately, back then it was kind of the good old boys club, and the people in my company that were doing that were very vague when you asked them questions, and pretty
Mm-hmm.
much would just offer for you to list it for 1%. They
Mm.
weren't going to help you learn how to be an investor. So I really
Yeah.
didn't have, so I was afraid. I didn't really have any help. I had a friend that was doing it, and again, just very vague answers, and I felt very lost. So what I ended up doing with that one is I ended up wholesaling it,
Mm-hmm.
getting taken advantage of. So, because I didn't even have an assignment contract. I didn't even know what that was. I just knew
Mm-hmm.
that there was a way for me to like pass my rights over and
Mm-hmm.
assign it. I went to a lender who I knew that was a big company that did, and I'll let them be nameless, who did also wholesaling. And I
Mm-hmm.
and I asked them about getting a loan, and then mentioned that I might be interested in also just, wholesaling it over to them. And he gave me an offer of 50,000 assignment fee. And I knew that wasn't enough. And he said, "Well, that's the max my company pays for
Mm-hmm.
contracts, 50,000." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, and I was just too afraid to do the other one, which was to take on a flip alone." And
Mm-hmm.
I took that 50,000. I woke up maybe a year or two later, in Vegas, of all places, watching Flip or Flop. And I see that Tarek Al Musa ended up buying it, or they wholesaled it to him directly from me. And he runs numbers on the Flipper Flop show. So I see my property,
Mm-hmm.
see all the numbers that he shares and how much he paid for it, and realize, wow, they completely screwed me over. And that was my first wholesale deal. I actually technically wholesaled it to Tarek Al Musa, Flipper Flop, and
Mm-hmm.
probably left $100,000 on the table.
Damn.
Yeah,
But I know but
that's
still,
fear.
you get to learn a lot at the same time. And I think
Oh
one of
yeah.
the things which I want to, like, you had not that much of, what do you call, like, idea regarding what exactly to do in that one particular situation when it comes to helping the one tenant, right? But you decided, you know what, let me just still go in, put on my blazer from the back of my car, just go in, see what exactly happens. And I think we're trying to, like, I think that's one of the things about wholesaling investing, right? You cannot learn everything at one go and then walk into it. Sometimes you just got to take a leap and then learn things through the process. Obviously, it might some hard lessons. Obviously, you might maybe had lots of money on the table, but you came back stronger. And I think that's what matters at the end of the day. Like it's about taking the opportunities at the same time, learning it and coming back better, stronger, smarter.
Yeah, absolutely. It still ended up being, like a turning point for me, realizing that I could make a quick $50,000
Yeah.
versus listing a property and going through all that rigmarole for a couple of points. But I think more importantly, if you think about the story, what I cared about most was these people that,
Yeah.
the husband was really grouchy. I finally won him over. The
Hmm.
wife was very emotional. And what mattered most to me is that I got them through that time. And I think
Yeah.
that's what really brought me to real estate investing, is to realize that there are people, there are many situations that the MLS is not what they need. And even
Hmm.
though I was, real estate, I think I might have had my broker's license already at that time. I don't even know, but I was a real estate agent working for First Team Real Estate there in Orange County. I I recognized very quickly, like, there's a market for people whose MLS is not the solution for them. And I
Hmm.
want to help those people. And they're usually people in distress. And
Yeah.
so I think that real estate investing is very good for those that have a servant's heart and really do want to assist them. It's a win-win, of course. Made
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And so did Tarek and his wife then. But that's what they wanted. That was a choice that they made, and they got much more than that. And
Hmm.
to this day, we're friends. They hit me up on Facebook on a regular basis. There's no hard feelings. It's not like I took advantage. I think a lot of people in this business, or not in this business, but like maybe agents think, oh, investors and especially wholesalers, they're crooks. And that's not the truth. There are a big for those people that need help beyond the MLS.
Yeah.
And
No, definitely. No, no, definitely, definitely. So, like, even I was talking to a lot of the like the investors wholesalers, which I even brought on the podcast. Like, obviously, there are what do you call like some rotten apples out there in the market, and they tend to create some bad names for the ones who are actually doing things properly and by the book. But what I understood from wholesaling is and investing is like, you know what, investors, wholesalers, they tend to, or let's say, they take care of people, or they help out people who are in dire or in, let's say, in bad situations, situations which they cannot get themselves out of. And that's basically where you guys come in,
fix it.
provide the best possible solutions which are out there. And also you help them list out all the possible scenarios on which you can get to help them or get to actually like what solve their problems. And I think that's a huge win. No matter you look at it, that is actually one of the best things you can do for someone who's in dire need.
Absolutely. Providing their options and letting and at the end of the day, just like when you're an agent, we're
Yeah.
there to assist and guide. We're not there to make their decisions for them. So
Yeah.
if I can lay out on a paper, which I actually did create, where I have a niche that I created back
Hmm.
when I was kind of transitioning from an investor, that
Yeah.
pretty much gave them if you retail it, this is what it's going to look like. If you sell it to a cash buyer, this is what it could look like. If you do kind of a hybrid version, which is fix it a little bit,
Hmm.
right, and put on the MLS, but geared towards cash buyers, this
Yeah.
is what it could look like, right? So it's like basically two commission models and one no commission model.
Yeah.
And you just
Yeah.
hand it to them and you say, which one makes sense for you?
Yeah.
And and if you have an agent, if you have a license and you're an investor, you can wear both hats. And they understand
Hmm.
that that's what you're doing. And you're not telling them, just go with the cash. You're saying, or I can list it just the same.
Hmm. Yeah. No,
But
true.
it's insane when you look at the bottom line, how little difference there is in what they're going to make.
Yeah.
They don't do a whole lot of work to the property. So oftentimes cash just makes more sense for them.
Yep. No, 100%. Now, I want to piggyback off one of your points which you mentioned, right? So, real estate is, one of the male-dominated industries out there, especially the investor side. And obviously, I want to know what are some of the you could maybe share that you had to deal with as a woman building in the space that nobody on the Bro podcast ever talks about.
Sure. Well, going way back to when I was not just a woman, but I was also a young woman, in my 20s and doing loans for people, that was really hard for some people to chew, especially the males. and in certain cultures too, right? Because they're just not really used to a young female coming to their house to sign loan documents and having to share paycheck stubs with them and bank accounts. And, it was just in some cases. Sometimes I
Mhm.
didn't really realize what was going on, but I do feel like I was challenged quite a bit, questioned quite a bit, and doubted quite a bit. And I think the way that I overcame that was simply just to, as the old saying is, understate what you can do and over deliver. And that's what I did. And I was very professional. I think I'm somewhat confident. And I just utilized that and, fake it till you make it, right? If I didn't know the answer to the question, I went and found somebody who did. I've had a lot of mentors that were either brokers or just simply friends that have helped me. I mean, I remember when I first started in lending and most of my clientele were Hispanic and I didn't speak Spanish. And I am a Mexican descent, but I
Mhm.
wasn't fluent. And so I went to friends, realtors, my father, and figured out how to say certain things like bank statements and
Mhm.
paycheck stubs and the things I needed to do to help these guys. And
Mhm.
I did it with honesty, transparency. And even though my Spanish was horribly broken, I earned trust. When you earn trust in a community, you get their families, their friends, their neighbors, their coworkers, and that's how I started my business. So even though I wasn't trusted, especially as a woman, I overcame that through just, like I said, just honesty and, professionalism. But I will say that getting into investing was a whole different story. There really wasn't anybody to ask. There wasn't training courses. There was no Pace Morbies. There
Mhm.
was probably a Ron LeGrand because he's been around since the 70s, but
Yeah.
I didn't have access to him and never heard of him. Because there was no social media, there was no internet the way that there is today.
Yeah.
So they're just for me. And
Mhm.
the people in my office, as I mentioned, they weren't opening those doors. So what the big deal for me was that um, the funny story is somebody asked me they're asking actually a group text. So
Mhm.
there's a gentleman by the name, he's probably the first man that ever opened the door for me. His name is Robert Fregoso. At the time, he was one of the owners of Anchor Loans. He sat me down one time and a friend of mine in a restaurant and went over and like start to finish how to get financing for a flip. He's the guy's a genius. He's still a major flipper player today. And
Mhm.
he was the first male to ever open the door for me. And that led me to Iris Veneration, who owned Invest Club for Women, who eventually just became Invest Club. And she did a 60-day challenge. And that lady changed my life. That 60-day challenge allowed me to understand the difference between on market, off market, and all the different exit strategies and different ways to purchase and access to the assignment contracts and the purchase contracts beyond the car forms that I was accustomed to using. And like I can't say enough. We're always asking you to bring that challenge back, and I'm telling you, I'm going to have to create one myself because it was so life changing. I have to do that for others. It's been one of my goals is to create a challenge like that helps agents and over to investing and then
Mhm.
just people in general. I have a soft spot for women, especially single mothers. I got the freedom of real estate at the age of 23. I've had a job, can you imagine, since I was 23 years old. I've been a CEO since I was 23 years old. Like, and I never had to ask for a day off for my kids if they
Mhm.
were sick. I never had to, deal with the corporate America issues that many people I know did.
Mhm.
And even during,
Even still now.
yeah, that's how it goes. Even during hard times. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was eating beans and rice and top ramen and, taking my kids to school with quesadillas and juice boxes because that's all I could afford. But I never went and got a full-time job, and I still haven't to this day. Real
Nice.
estate has been my salvation, and it's really important to me to that I give back to others.
No, true and amazing, amazing, and that's one of the I would say like one of the inspiration stories, and I think it's got and I think you're setting what do you call like a foundation for a lot of women investors to actually what do you call like come forward and really and then enter in this space and also start dominating in this space as well. So
I
s-
see more now. I'm really proud. I
yeah.
see so young girls too.
Oh no, we like even recently, even close to control. So we started noticing a couple of the young girls from Oklahoma, from Houston. They started getting into wholesaling, like young as 21, 22 years old, and it's kind of like you know what, like wow, it's nice, and you can slowly start seeing the shift of what is exactly happening. It used to be, I mean, obviously, even in our company too, it's all like majority of the clients. I would say, you know what, 90 5%, I would still say it's predominantly male, but still we do see young girls coming in and really start dominating in the space. But one thing I would say is the girls coming in, we never had any one of them, what do you call, like churn or let's say stop business somewhere in between. They knew what exactly was the best steps. They did everything calculated, and on top of that, there was not what do you call, like hey, I got to do this. I see something which is happening. Let me just follow the trend. No, nobody follows it. They every single decision which I've seen them making, even in the closer control side, it's been purely mathematical. And
Interesting.
yeah,
Can I tell you something else?
yeah.
We're a lot better at real estate and wholesaling than men are. We just naturally are because we're naturally pleasers. We're naturally wanting to help. It's a lot of the people that we're helping are males that own these properties that have owned them for many years.
Mhm.
They like dealing with us more than they do with men. Their trust level and the building rapport happens much, much faster for women than it does men. And I can't prove that, but every woman I know that has joined has gone from 0 to 60 much faster than the males do in terms of teaching them how to mirror and sales and tonality. We don't have to teach women that. We naturally are just something where I don't know, but I think it's something we're just about born with. So every time I've seen a woman in acquisitions or dispositions, they kick butt really, really fast and get a name for themselves and are beloved and trusted very, very quickly. I got my daughter in as a dispositionist, and like, I think in a year and a half, like she dispoed every flip I had quickly. She dispositioned every wholesale, like got assignments, built a huge buyer list for me. And she did it all. A lot of what she did, she learned on YouTube.
Mhm.
She did me. She was just like, I got it. I mean,
Yes.
I've time and again see women flourish in this industry. I just don't see enough entering it.
Yeah.
And I want to change that.
Yeah, I think it's just the barrier to entry. That's it. I think once you get in, you start dominating the space pretty fast. And even like let's say a lot of the top like the males who have acquisition managers, right, or display managers, they are primarily women, and they tend to prefer higher women managers over there because they always it's they know how to get the seller to actually open up. They know how to get the conversation going and to actually reach the end point on whether if they actually want to sell or they're just
Yeah,
looking for some deals.
quickly. Yeah. In a gentle manner, which
Yeah.
is more approachable. That's my opinion. I mean, I've seen many males that are just, I mean, RJ Bates is one of my favorites. If I see a short clip video from him or even a long one, I'll watch the whole darn thing. And there's so many guys out there teaching. I've never taken one of his classes,
Hmm.
but everything he provides in terms of like help with scripting and stuff is just so spot on. He's an sure he's a closer, man. But every time I've seen a woman on the phone, we take a lot longer. We let them talk a lot more. We're a lot more patient. Whereas I think sometimes males just want to do the like, okay, I only want to do 3 minutes on a call. I don't see this
Yeah.
going anywhere, and they want to move on. They're more efficient. They just want to be quick.
Yeah.
We'll waste that 45 minutes, and maybe it doesn't turn into anything, but the next 45 minutes we waste does. It's a waste. So I think that patience helps a lot. So what I'm saying is, I think I could take some lessons from
No,
watching their colleagues
definitely.
in the industry for sure.
No, 100%. No, 100% with you. Now, I know you've been publicly talking about investing outside of real estate, especially the AI side.
Yeah.
So, what made you start looking there? And what does your portfolio look like across like assets, like as of right now?
Okay, so quick story. I think it kind of segues into this to kind of where I'm at today. So basically, I decided after flipping, I got tired of construction. I needed a break, and I went full time wholesaling. And I brought 3 of my children into wholesaling, and we got a big office, and it was super fun. And we did, plenty of deals, but we really never scaled. Why? Because I had mouths to feed, people to pay. And we also had virtual assistants, and it just got a bit expensive, and the office, everything else. So I never could scale. And really what happened was one by one, each child kind of went their own way, right? My unfortunately or fortunately, I built my children similar to myself. We're entrepreneurs and we want to be the CEO, and that's okay. But why the reason I did it kind of lost its purpose. And over time, I just couldn't scale it. I really couldn't. Even when I
Mhm.
brought it, got out of an office and brought it smaller and got my Egyptian closers and still had my VAs in Philippines. I just couldn't get to scale. So I finally decided to close it last year, which was devastating for me. So it's been about a year and I hate to use the word lost and I hate to put that out in the universe, but that's just how I felt. I really
Mhm.
felt because real estate has been such a big identity for me since at such a young age. Um, I just, I like online live, like beauty sales, because,
Mhm.
my daughter's a social media influencer and I had access to a lot of products. That was fun for a minute, but it just didn't feel big enough. It didn't feel right. And so I knew I had to get back in the space. So I made a couple of calls, one of which was a couple of the Ruka brothers that own Closer Control, which is my CRM that I love, and had some really good conversations that gave me some excitement and made me feel giddy again about real estate. So all I did was I jumped back into the CRM. I had all these old leads, most of which hadn't been touched in at least a year, some
Mhm.
much longer than that, years. And they helped me build a workflow, which is just like blasting and, responsive stuff. And then they threw AI in there for me. And they said, let's give you some AI. Let's see if that helps. Since you're a one-man show, you're going to need some help. And I'm like, huh, okay. At this point, I'd only use Chat GPT like Google, like everyone else.
Mhm. Yeah.
um, I was like floored. I could not believe how much AI changed things. So I was able to quickly start getting deals, hire a VA, and it's been not even 4 weeks. I mean, well, okay, so it's probably been 8 weeks since we turned on the first blast, but it's only
Mhm.
been 4 weeks since I brought the VA on and kind of just went full force, full time, or it's still part time. Let's be real.
Mhm.
Let's
Yeah.
real estate. We're never really full time. I mean, because we can kind of do what we want and
Yeah.
wake up late or start, or take a nap in the middle of the day. That's what I love about real estate, the freedom. But so with the CRM Closer Control, because they have really good AI, I have now I'm somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks. I have locked 3 contracts, dispoed one, that'll sell soon, no, close soon. Picked up a flip in California. It'll be a quick exit flip. And
Mhm.
we'll be signing tomorrow a 19 parcel portfolio. So I'll be 24 properties in by Friday. And it's not
Nice.
even a month in. And
Nice.
it's all because of AI. So I know I'm being long-winded, but let me tell you what I've done with AI since then. Since then, I've been taking any class I can possibly take, especially the free ones. I did the Tony
Mhm.
Robbins AI 2026
Yeah.
thing that just finished. I forget what it's called. And so if you guys can look that up or make sure you hit the 2027 one, make sure you do because that blew me away. I'm starting to now I had already started creating prompts and SOPs with certain prompts have allowed me to just completely change my business. I literally do more business more efficiently with just myself and one VA. Now he's
Mhm.
trained because I've had him for many years than I did with a staff of 7, or even back when I had a staff of with 10. I'm doing more business in 4 weeks. And it's because AI has exponentially like added on. It's like the best business partner I've ever had. And it's the best partner and assistant to my VA that he's
Mhm.
probably ever had. So every single day I spend 30 minutes at least learning something new in AI that I can implement in my business. I get in the operation of the business. I use AI all day long, but
Yeah.
then I stop. I either go back to a replay of Anthony Robbins, somebody that mentioned something that they're doing that I don't understand. Like I'm starting to build workbooks and agents. I'm moving over to Claude. I'm starting to think about bots, but AI is just like
Yeah.
it's it. You have to be open minded, and you got to your business now, or you're going to be way left behind. We're
No.
already late as far as I'm
But yeah.
concerned.
No, no, no. Like, I feel like the people are not using AI at this stage right now. They are gonna get left behind because the people like lean, mean teams, they're implementing AI as of right now, and they are dominating in this space. Like, it's like, you know what? Like teams which used to be 20 people, right? It's just cut down to maybe max, I think, one main guy, then one acquisition manager, one dispo, one lead manager.
Under
That's it.
five.
Less under
Yeah.
five now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Totally. I
this
can
is
see that. I couldn't see that before, but now I get that.
Yeah, and I think that's like an amazing comeback story. It's like what, 8 weeks and so many contracts locked in. Amazing. Happy for you. Now, I'm curious. So, like, what AI features are you using as of right now? Like, and how are you using it today?
So I'm still on ChatGPT. I do want to move to Claude. Again,
Mhm.
that's just because I've been getting enough trained to understand ChatGPT has some limitations
Yep.
that Claude doesn't have. So I haven't done that transition yet. But so right now
Hmm.
I have my SOPs are all very AI related. So
Hmm.
they all include, for example, I have an SOP for land acquisitions, an SOP
Hmm.
for SFR acquisitions. I have an SOP for land and SFR dispositions. They all include prompts that you literally can just plug and play into Chat GPT and get instant information, anywhere from just one simple flip opportunity all the way to, like I said, 19 parcels in
Yeah.
Arizona. And I have it to where I end up with not only but like an Excel spreadsheet that will give me every single, for example, with the parcels, every single APN number, every single
Mhm.
description, a link to a map. It will give me like a ideal price that I would be, MAO, an ideal MAO level price. It will give me the exit strategy and sort it by priority of exit strategy. And then based on the couple different types of exit strategies for each parcel, how much money I could potentially make. Like if it
Yeah.
seller financing, creative versus just, outright resale or improvements. So, I
Mhm.
mean, and this is all happening in like, I mean, sometimes it has to think for a second and it takes
Yeah.
about 3 to 5 seconds or 8 seconds or 10 seconds. But I mean, do you know how long something like that would have taken me? I would have worked on that for 2 days at
Yeah.
least. Right. And I'm
Yeah.
fast. So yeah, it's just crazy. After I do that, I've learned how to deep dive and I've trained it and taught it. But now at this point, I've done that and gotten my prompts so on point that I don't have to deep dive. I can grab that. I even have taught it to make it to where it's the text is able to just copy and paste into my notes without all
Hmm.
the emojis and the
Yeah.
large text and the
Yeah.
bold. And so I throw it immediately into my notes. So I don't even do that anymore. That's what my virtual assistant does, my lead manager.
Hmm.
So he's able to send out letter of intents and offers with his partner, Chat GPT.
Hmm.
And then, of course, if he needs me to oversee it or has some questions or isn't quite sure, he can just go into you have another SOP for just going in and asking me for help. So all day
Yeah.
long, I have this amazing job now. All day long, I am a fixer, problem solving, double checking what he's doing just to see if I agree with the price he's going to offer.
Hmm.
Just glance of what him and ChatGPT figured out. So I'll get through in a day. I can easily get through in a day 10 potential deals, large deals or more. And that's with just kind of driving down the street, looking real quickly, pulling over for a second to reply. Like I can't tell you. I mean, and I'm not the surface. I will
Yeah.
have my letter of intents, my offers, going out with bots. I have an inside the CRM closer controls already responding, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not even having to
There's
get in,
conversation bots, all of those things. So
everything's in
yeah.
place right now. And I don't even know how got into place. I just said, yes, please, I'd like AI. And all of a sudden, like me and my lead manager were only having to deal with the to the top.
Yeah.
That and then I
Yeah.
only have to deal with the cherry on top because he's figuring out which ones are those, right? Cherry
Yeah.
picking them, and then those are the ones that we're making offers on. And it's kind of quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And AI gotten rid of the excess quantity.
Hmm.
And guys, I want to make sure we all understand the deals I have done in the last 3.5 weeks are all resurrected deals from a workflow that Connor Mecca, I mean, Ruka taught me or did with me, to help me come back, and like I keep joking with my kids who are now all adults. And I'm like, mommy's back. Like I'm back. I'm back in such a way. And me and my partner are like kicking ass. I love it. Like I don't even know if I would have done this again if AI wasn't available for me. I don't think so. I don't want a big stuff. I'm like lean, mean, deal making machine. I have a deal desk, and his name is ChatGPT.
Amazing, amazing,
Love
amazing.
it.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, can't wait. I can wait every day. I'm figuring out what
Yep,
else I want to add to it. I want to be
definitely.
like a major player of real estate AI, like a major
Mhm.
AI operator in real estate. And I think that's my next um, educational strategy because I love to be an educator. I love to teach and bring people in the business. And I
Mhm.
think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to figure out a way to package it up and say, hey, you can be a nurse, and on your days off, you and AI can do X, Y, and Z. And
Yep,
just punch these in.
yep, definitely. Now, I have some, you could say, some controversial questions, which I just wanted your take on. Obviously, some quick reasons why you think this might be the case. So, first one I would say, the LA market trap. So, a lot of times I've been here, hey, Los Angeles real estate has been overpriced, it's uninvestable for the last decade. And a lot of times, what, the last decade, there's just minted millionaires here. And so my take is, do you think LA is too expensive, or it's just an excuse for people who do not know how to undertake a market like that?
I think it's both. I think that's, fear thinking, which I don't, I always discourage people from thinking I can't, I won't. There's plenty making tons of money in Southern California, Orange County market, San Diego, Los Angeles. I was born and raised in Orange County. So
Mhm.
I didn't have an option for, this is again, I started a long time ago. So there wasn't everything was localized. So there
Yeah.
wasn't for me to like figure out, gosh, people are able to, there's a lot more accessibility in, the next state, Nevada, even Arizona. I didn't have that option. I had to work with what I was given, which was $1 million homes all around me, right?
Hmm.
Back in those days, maybe there's 700,000, but that was so much money then, right? So I've always come from the perspective of I don't really have time to complain. I mean, when you're a single mom and you're just trying to hustle, like you just figure it out. And so I think I have a different perspective in that way. I'm not really big on excuses. But I will say of course, every market's different than the next market.
Yeah.
There are big players here. It isn't like you can just jump in and do a quick fix and flip if you don't have gap funding. Because if you need to put even 10 or 20% down, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars to
Hmm.
get in on a $700,000 fixer that will sell for 1.3. But again, think about what it's going to take to get into that. And that's what throws people off when it comes to fix and flipping. Same thing with wholesaling.
Hmm.
They are not dealing with, the poor little grandma out in, I don't know, the Midwest. They're dealing with probably somewhat savvy person who is more analytical,
Yeah.
probably more educated, and you can't just go in with your little wholesale scripts and grab this property, at an under market price.
Yeah.
It's a different ball game. I'll tell you this, I don't have a formal college education.
Hmm.
I'm not necessarily the sharpest tool or the smartest one in the room that I come in, but I can tell you what I am. I am the most confident one that walks into the room. I am the one who's going to try the hardest and work the longest, whatever it takes, I'm going to get it done. And that's really what it is in this market. So I may only do 3 or 4 flips in Orange County and LA County, or wholesale deals in a year, but I'm making an average of $75,000 per deal. So do I feel any less successful than my friends that are doing, let's say, remote deals and doing, 10 plus deals a month, but making five to $10,000 a deal? Absolutely not. In
Hmm.
fact, I think I'm a little spoiled because I make more, if not the same, if not more, and I had to work and have the systems and that kind of thing like they did. In fact, that's why when I was trying to scale with wholesaling and going remote,
Hmm.
I, now I'm like, now I'm in Arizona. Why? Because those are the two places where I reside.
Yeah.
I'm staying localized. I came back from doing remote because I was working my butt off, spending a whole heck of a lot of money on staff and
Hmm.
and all the other infrastructure to do those kind of numbers. When at the end of the day, I came right back onto the LA and Orange County scene, and there's a lot of money here. You just have to, it's the same exact strategy. You just make
Yeah.
money at the end of the deal.
Yep. Definitely. Definitely. Now, I have another one.
Yeah.
It's more on the brokerage is a dying lie. So I know, like back in 2024, there was a NAR settlement where a lot of the online gurus declared that traditional brokerage is dead. Buyers are not going to pay the agents. Sellers will try
Yep.
listing it direct, and AI will do the replacement in the middle. Now, what is your take on that particular set?
Well, that's the new hype. I notice as I do my little scrolling once in a while on the social media platforms that people are trying to jump on the gloom, the doom and first of all, avoid that. Don't
Yeah.
listen to those, don't watch those, don't put those types of seeds in your head because that you don't want to wake up with thoughts because all you're doing is adding a bigger mountain or a bigger hill to climb
Yeah.
to, we're already independent in this business, right? In real
Yeah.
estate, as a real estate agent, even if you're with a brokerage, or a broker or an investor, we kind of work alone. And, we have to stay self-motivated. So watching that kind of stuff and listening to those comments and stuff like that, I think that the best advice I have is stop doing that crap. I don't watch most of it. I just caught one and I actually shut it down. So I
Mhm.
know that but I've noticed that's out there. It's kind of like the news. People just want to throw out whatever's going to get their, the reach and whatever's going to click, right?
Yep.
Um,
You have to say some controversial stuff just so that you get the views. That's it. And half the time, it's just full
and
of
that's the
fluff,
hot
isn't it?
topic right
Yeah.
now. That's really what it is. So with that said, my opinion on the matter at this point is you will never replace AI will never replace the biggest things they talked about in the Tony Robbins AI seminar. AI will never replace humans. AI is here to enhance humans, not to clone yourself. AI is here to be the best partner and assistant you've ever had, to make you do what you do 10
Hmm.
times faster plus, right?
Yeah.
I feel the same way about when they say that certain industries are going to die. Are there going to be massive changes? Of course, there already are.
Yeah.
And will it affect the real estate industry? Of course it will. Do we know how? Of course we don't. We're just scratching the surface of so many things in AI, and real estate is just one of those. But at the end of the day, I wake up every morning knowing, with regards to anything and AI,
Hmm.
that you can never replace the human touch. We are human. We want to build rapport with another human. Our trust goes directly to another human. There are things that only a human can do that AI can never do, that a computer can never do. So we will always be necessary, especially when I think about the people that I help, even if they're not in distress, just people that you do an average listing, like their call at 10 o'clock at night, they panic over something or
Hmm.
their help that they need, and you realize that it's probably over the fact that they're getting divorced, that they're panicking over a line on the purchase contract. Like, AI can't fix that. AI can't help that person, and AI can't get them from point A to point B like a person and a real estate agent can. So no, we'll be here in some way, shape, or form. What I will say is, if you haven't read Who Moved My Cheese, which is a very little book that I was given way back in corporate America, read it right now. Because if you are one of the stubborn ones and resistant to AI, read Who Moved My Cheese and stop being resistant and just go with the flow. There always will be a place for you.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
I think I totally agree with you because I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions, right? Obviously, yes. I mean, uh, teams, would they get leaner with the implementation? Definitely.
yeah,
Would you be
that's
able to
great.
get more productive with AI? Definitely too. Like you're gonna get, it's like, let's say if you used to do, let's say before implementation of AI, like let's say you used to do just task A, task B, task C, and it maybe take you like 3 days to do it. Now, just to do the same task, you can get it done in max, I don't know, like 5, 6 hours. That's it. Like you're cutting
Now,
down the time by, I don't know, like 95% just to get the same thing done. And on top of that, with the extra time which you have on your hands right now, you can either use that to maybe take more responsibilities or, I don't know, maybe take some chill time. Just chill, relax. And obviously, the better part is the more and more the AI is getting trained these days, the better is the responses, the more refined is the output as well. So,
agreed. I
Yeah.
mean, what you're saying that would take, like I said, something would take me 2 days to do. The funny part is, after those 2 days, I would have had half the information, if that, that I got in those seconds that I waited for, my bestie, Chat GPT, to give it to me. And
Yeah.
so it just takes just like with any employee, you have to take time to nurture and train. One of the things I learned recently was you need to show them, show whatever AI tool you're using exactly what steps you took
Yeah.
and exactly what good looks like at the end,
Yep.
and play with it a little bit and test it out, and then get it to where it's good enough.
Yep.
And take the, like I said, a few minutes a day, because good enough is it can always be better. Like, I retry the prompts that I've given, like I said, my VA, and that I use. When I try the prompt again, I'm fixing it constantly. Like, I probably update my prompts and my SOPs every week at
Hmm.
least,
Yeah.
because I figure out some other way that I can get a better output, because really it's all about, right, the right input for the right output.
Yeah.
So I think that's just, you just got to take that time and train the dragon, right?
Yep.
Just your AI.
Yep.
It changes things, man.
Yeah.
It's
It changes a lot.
amazing. I love it so much. And I mean, I'm 51 years old. I'll throw that out right now. Like, I'm at the age group where people have a lot of resistance towards AI, or really don't understand what it really is.
Hmm.
Go to YouTube, take any free training you can. You don't have to pay. There's a lot of free stuff out there. Watch every webinar. And I mean, just in your day-to-day life, bring AI in, because it's not that, evil everyone says it is. It's actually, if you train that dragon, it'll change your life.
Yep. No, 100%. This has been amazing. And Andrea, before we end all of the podcast, I have this interesting exercise which I want you to also do.
Hmm,
So
okay.
technically, it's called
Oh,
property walkthrough red flag tier list. So
oh,
yeah.
that's cool. Let's go.
Yeah. So I know they call it mix fixer for a reason. So obviously, you walk through properties for a living and you see most of the things which investors miss, right? So we're going to be doing something similar over here. So
All right.
yeah, I'm going to throw you a list of property red flags at you, and I want you to tier them at how dangerous they are. So the ones that kill a deal versus the ones that freaks out, the ones that everybody freaks out, but you know what? It really doesn't matter. So S
Or
tier, you know what? That's the most dangerous one. Walk away immediately. The deal is dead. And D
a
tier
little
is like,
deeper, and here's what you need to look at
yeah,
to know if it's a deal killer or not. Okay,
exactly.
let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. S tier
Oh my
would be, you
God,
know
this
what?
is literally my claim to fame. Let's do this. Come
Yes.
on. I'm very confident about this kind of stuff. Go, go,
Okay.
go.
Okay. Let me
You
just
just stumped me. I promise you there.
perfect. Yeah. No, let me just
Oh,
give you, let me just know the rules so that we don't mistake it. So S, you would say, you know what, walk away immediately. The deal is dead. A tier is like, it's a serious problem. You only proceed if the math makes sense. And B, less dangerous. C, even less. D is like, you know what, there's nothing bad about it. People just freak out for no reason. That's all.
so A is run,
Yeah.
and D is
B,
green light.
yeah, like, you know what, it's okay. I
It
can
has
make
nothing to
something
do with
happen.
anything. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All
First
right.
one, foundation cracks visible from the outside.
I'm sorry. So it was A.
No, no.
Wait.
Wait.
Yeah,
S
that kind of
tier.
throws me off.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. S tier is the most walk away immediately.
So can
Then
I just say that run, or not, or is it like, I mean, is it like ABC? Like,
yeah,
it's
ABC.
no
Yeah,
big deal. It
yeah,
could be a
exactly.
big deal, or run. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
No, no,
Okay,
no.
I'm sorry. Let's
Uh,
start that again.
yeah. S would be what do you call it? Run away immediately. Okay.
S. Okay.
Yeah. A would be it is a serious problem. Only proceed if it makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
B
A.
would be it's a real concern. Just factor it into the offer. C would be manageable. Don't panic. Just plan for it.
That's too complicated. So S is run, and
Yeah.
then I'm gonna write this down. Hold on just a second. It's not clicking for me. Run.
Yeah.
A is what?
It's a serious problem. Only
Yeah.
proceed if the math makes sense.
Okay.
B, it's a real concern. Just factor it into your offer.
Okay.
C is manageable, but don't panic, just plan for it.
All right.
D is, there's actually no problem with it. You're just freaking out for no reason. I can easily make my deal work even though this is a.
I don't ever worry about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Okay, so I'm obviously for the main clip, I'm gonna cut that part out. Yeah,
Let's go.
okay. First one, foundation cracks. It is visible from the outside though.
B.
B, okay. Old galvanized or polybutylene plumbing.
D.
D. Knob and tube or aluminum wiring.
C.
Okay. Roof past its useful life.
D.
D. Mold visible in the wall or the ceiling.
B.
B. Okay. Unpermitted additions or garage conversions.
B.
B. Property in flood zone or fire zone.
D.
D. Okay. So not that dangerous. Not.
That's a lot that there's a significant amount for in Florida or in California that are. So
Mhm.
it's just something we're used to. It's something buyers are used to.
Got it. HOA with active litigation.
I'm dealing with that right now. That is A.
It's a high problem.
If you are experienced, you are like under 20 deals, under 5 years in the business.
Mhm.
Yes. Don't mess with that. You need to move on from that one.
Got it. Owner is in active probate or as a clouded title.
I would label that one a B, and I would take it deeper before I would put in a non-refundable deposit. I would be talking to my title rep. I would be doing upfront due diligence before I would make any moves. So
Mhm.
it could be an S.
Yeah.
I would have to factor that in advance and
Got
get
it.
and make any non till
Mhm.
I literally was 100% sure where I stood.
Yep. And finally, tenant occupied with no lease, or you can say a squatter situation.
Oh, that's a D. I mean, again, all of them, you have to factor in an expense into the math, all of
Hmm.
them, right?
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that what you're saying is the math makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely not a problem. Line item on your repair list. It's
Got it.
just what you do before trash out and demo. That's all it is.
Got it.
Because you're not doing it, you just get a lawyer.
Yeah. Got it. Well, guys, that is it for this episode of Real Talk. We got
It's
Andrea
fun.
in the building, and obviously, she had a lot to share, especially about what exactly it takes for a woman to make it in this space, a lot about AI education, and also the fun section where you guys have to watch all the way just a little bit towards before to see what exactly Andrea talked about, especially when it came to ranking the different scenarios which a person can go through, especially when walking through a property. So, Andrea, for the people, if they want to get in touch with you, how exactly do you think is the best method? Is it email? Do you have a social media website?
Okay, so I'll share my email. It's Andrea at blacklabel.group, not .com, but .group. And then you can also check me out on Instagram at I am Andrea Arciga. That's IAMANDREA ARCIGA. And that'll lead you everywhere you need to go. You can DM me anytime. I love to help. If you have a deal that you just need help on and you need a little bit of guidance, I don't charge you a cent. I will help you, especially if you're a newbie, and especially if you're a young woman joining. But I'll help anybody. I'm always here to assist, and give you a little mentorship. So many people help me along the way, and I
Mhm.
will never turn anybody away who needs the same assistance. So please, come visit me.
Guys, you heard her. Go connect with Andrea and Black Label Group. I'll post a link in the description over here. So, guys, if this episode hit different, share it, send it to a woman who actually needs to hear it. And till then, we'll catch you on the next episode of Real Talk, where we're going to be coming up with new guests, new stories, and new insights. That's it for today, guys. Thank you.
So fun. Bye.